So last night I was asked as a request from Jeffrey Armister and Jason Diebold to speak on their team call and share my story. Jason Diebold and I have been friends for a little over 2.5 years. I consider him one of my mentors, and he was present at the Diesel Nation Diamond Leadership Retreat last week in Miami, and he heard a little more about my story and about how becoming a full-time coach has impacted not just the dynamics of our family financially or as far as freedom, but the relationship with my children. And it wasn't just about me and the relationship that I have with my children, but how they've responded to me and the difference that me becoming a full-time coach has made for them as children, and how this I really feel is going to impact them later on as an adult. And I know that it really spoke to a lot of parents out there, mothers and fathers, for what they go through every day trying to make ends meet for their children, and their children don't realize what they're doing for them financially because they have a roof over their head, they have food on the table. What they're missing is that parent at home with them, that patient parent, that loving parent, that understanding parent. And, it's so typical for us to come home exhausted, and our children and our families get what's left over after the day. The point of this video was, at the end of the call, Jeff opened it up to questions and, things that people wanted to share. And I was kind of amazed that, the things that people said and the realizations they had. So I'm glad that I shared my story. But one thing that somebody asked at the end was, did you ever want to quit being a coach? And I've never actually been asked that, so that was something new. And, I shared this, story, and it also has a lot to do with why I'm going to be with Beachbody for the rest of my life and why I love this. It goes way beyond health or fitness or wellness or nutrition, but it's the relationships that I have created. Last year, I became a coach in February of 2012, and it was the year, it was not actually last year, it was the year before that. My husband had a torn rotator cuff, torn bicep, torn labrum, and bone spurs in his shoulder, and he had to have major surgery. This happened in May. In June, I became a diamond coach, and becoming a diamond coach, something that I've been sharing with a lot of my coaches who are pushing for diamond at the end of the year, that I don't know what happened, but something about becoming diamond just opened up a whole new world for me. And I just felt like a victor and a success and, very accomplished. And, at that same point, I was just finishing up P90X. It was my first program. I had taken off running as a coach and had all these responsibilities. And then on top of it, I had 2 daughters who were in school and, a 2-year-old son. Rebel turned 2 on June 7th of 2012, the same day that I went diamond. And this was about a month after my husband had had major surgery, where it was, I was responsible for everything in the house and taking care of him. There was times I slept on the ground, out in the living room, just to be close to him, because he was in so much pain and it was impossible for him to get up. He was hooked up to this machine, and I was run ragged. I had signed up for the first cup challenge. If you're a coach, you probably understand what this is. It's just a competition between teams of different number of coaches. I think there was 5 of us at the time, basically competing for prizes. And this is something that's changed and evolved into something that's called the Fall Classic this month. But it was an 8-week competition of, busting our butts to help as many people as we can. And, at that time I was so focused on winning, and because I never won anything in my entire life. And, it was funny. I was so overwhelmed. I was about halfway through the 8-week period, and I remember my coach Becky reached out to me. This was in July, and at the same time I was doing Ultimate Reset, and I'd already helped Ryan do Ultimate Reset in May right after his surgery. So as you can only imagine, this boring mom turned into this somebody running a business, taking care of a whole family, trying new things and new programs and trying to fit in working out, and I was just overwhelmed. And I just kind of withdrew. I just shut down, and this is something that still I struggle with. When I get overwhelmed, I just shut down, and I'm pretty sure other people can probably relate to that. And Becky reached out to me and she said, Elaine said you should check on Mindy. she just doesn't seem quite herself. And you have to think, I've only been a coach for about 4.5 months. Elaine is Christina and Becky. Becky's my coach, and Christina is my coach's sister. That's their lifelong best friend, Elaine. She's never even met me at this point, but she knew something was wrong with me. She asked Becky to check up on me, and Becky didn't. I was like, I'm exhausted. I was trying to actually do, now that I think about it, P90X. I'd finished that, and I was trying to do Les Mills pump, I think, in Brazil butt lift, but I was just spreading myself thin, and I just shut down. And at that point in time, it was just amazing to me, because whenever I was going through some major, marriage issues, personal issues, all sorts of things, all my quote-unquote friends that I had before becoming a coach, they didn't care. They called me whenever there was some drama. They called me when there was a party. They called me when they needed something. And not saying they're bad people, but, I really didn't have genuine friendships. And maybe that was because I didn't know how to cultivate them myself, and I didn't love myself, and I really wasn't a good person. But I will never forget that the fact that Elaine, somebody I didn't even know, could tell something was wrong and took the initiative to make sure that somebody who was very close to me at the time checked on me. And so, this is my answer to that question of if I ever thought I was going to quit. I will say that was the only time I came close to quitting. And the fact that somebody cared about me kept me from quitting, kept me from throwing in the towel when it was too hard. And this is one thing that I shared on the call last night, is there's going to be times in your life that things are hard, in your marriage, with your children, at a job, as a coach. And you have to look at it, are these things permanent? Are these things worth you throwing in the towel for the greater good that you can achieve? If you're married and you have a slight problem, or even if it's a big problem, is it worth throwing in the towel and then starting over again and giving up everything you've worked so hard for something you love and somebody you love? In my opinion, no, it's not. And I just shared something on Facebook about how Ryan's the one person I've never fallen out of love with. We've had more problems combined together than I think a lot of people will have ever had in their lifetime. But I've never, ever fallen out of love with him. I've never questioned if I love him. There's times I don't like him. There's times I want to punch him in the face. And there's times that we say evil, rotten, hateful, horrible things to each other that I think a lot of us, can admit to doing in their marriage. But, it's not worth giving up. And that's the way I look with Beachbody, is I look at what is done for me. And in the days that I'm overwhelmed, I'm exhausted, I'm frustrated with getting questions that I just, I have a hard time answering. I get questions, feedback from other people that is not positive. I get people who are combative to me, and I get, messages one after another and after another. And, but I look at what Beachbody's done for me, the relationships I've formed. And what I tell everyone is I love Shakeology. I'm going to drink it for the rest of my life. I love what the relationships I've created and how it strengthens the ones I've already had, and the friendships that I've made along the way inside of, the Beachbody organization, and friends that I picked up along the way, where we have deeper, better quality friendships than I've ever had in my life. And that's because of Beachbody. So I'm not going to go anywhere. And I look back at that time when I was frustrated. It was an 8-week cup challenge, and we haven't had that again. And those 8 weeks were over, and we're past that. I survived that. All the bad days in my life, I have successfully gotten through. And so all these times that you think this is the end of your world, you can't, manage it, these things aren't permanent. Rebel's no longer 2. He's at the age where he's not underfoot. He's not jumping on my lap when I'm trying to message people back. He wants to know what I'm doing. He's helping me make shakes. He's helping me work out. He's wanting to know when I'm going to do PIO. He's wanting to know who's on the video conference call with me. He's part of this, this is our business together. It's a family business. This is something that we all do together. And, Ryan's shoulder, we're past that. He has a fully operating, arm and shoulder now. So we're past that. So all these things that I could have quit, and I could have thrown in the towel and said, screw this, coaching's too hard, it's too much. All of that stuff is over. It's temporary. And so I look at that now, and when there's times that I'm frustrated with anything in life, I think about all the positive, and that's what helps me get through the negative. Because life isn't full of roses and, rainbows and wonderful, happy butterfly times. It is times where there's hard. There's times that you have to push through it. And so, no, I'm never going to quit. And it is because of the fact that I've went all in, because I've invested so much in myself, because I've built these relationships with people who are strangers, who really truly care about me and my family. I'm never going anywhere, and I've been able to reap the full benefit of coaching and of Beachbody, and I can stand up and say that this company has my heart, it has my passion, and Today I had a call with Keyshawn, who is our new regional sales manager for our region since we've been rezoned. And I told her that, my core purpose for what I wanted to accomplish in our area was set forth on March 1st of 2013 when I told Arnold that I wanted to make sure that I got Beachbody on the map here in Houston. I wanted to get a team of coaches that didn't even have to be on my team to stand together and unite and to edify everything that Beachbody does and just pull together and be about Beachbody, not about Mindy, not about Team Relentless, not about any other coach out there. And so this is my core purpose. And I asked Sean, this is what I want your help with. This is what I need your accountability for. There's times that I'm frustrated and I'm tired, but I keep doing it. Last Super Saturday, I came back from leadership in Arizona exhausted, and I traveled all the way to San Antonio. Then I came back, and then I went all the way to Houston, spent all day there hosting this because I wanted to make sure that all the Houston coaches knew what was to offer with Beachbody and had somebody who had Beachbody's back as much as Beachbody's had mine. And so, these are the things that keep me with this company where I will never quit. And I urge all of you to really embrace everything that is, there for you as a coach, that is just as readily available to me and anybody else, and get to benefit this, get to be a success story, and get to be home with your family and be able to sit here like I am and tell you all the wonderful things about Beachbody, because I can go on and on and on and on about all the wonderful things about Beachbody and what it's done for me and my family and the people on my team. And, I'd have to actually really think about the things I didn't like about Beachbody, and I'm not sure I could find anything wrong with them. I know it's a lot of work, it's hard work, and I never ever try to trick anybody or make them think that this is easy, but at the end of the day, it is worth it. Just like if you put in the skin and the energy and the time and effort into your marriage, at the end of your life, if you're with the same person and you're still in love with them, it is worth it. And I feel that way with Beachbody. They have 100% of my loyalty. So I hope this has kind of helped anybody who's ever thought about quitting to be able to weigh out what you're going through and really what the issue is, and focus on the positive. So I leave you with this thought and hope you do very well with Beachbody and give the your all, because you will get back what you give in.